Good afternoon, all of you. I see some familiar faces of our partners. I know, of course, there are other attendees at this webinar. Welcome and thank you for joining. We try to start on time, so it's 5 p.m. Central European time. Don't forget this. And thank you for joining. We will start with our webinar. First of all, let me say that as you can see, we already started recording. We hope you don't mind that. We do this because it's part of our obligation to the EU as a project co-funded by the European Union. And this is one of the deliverables this webinar. It is also good to mute yourself. You can stay use your camera, of course, but mute would be advisable for the time being. Of course, if you already want to ask questions, you can. We have a Q&A at the end, but if you have some things you want to share, there's a chat function, of course, that you can freely use. We will keep an eye on that during the presentation. My name is Mark Teboom. I'm chair of the research group of Sport and Society, and I'm joined here by two of my colleagues. One you can see already, Fred Coulter, who is also part of our research group, and in the same room, but you won't see her at the moment, is Tessa Commerce, also ready to intervene if necessary for any kind of things that might occur during our presentation. So we're the whole idea of this webinar is to bring you a little bit, inform you about the actual project, but very brief introduction to the Coach Plus project, of which we have made a MOOC, which we will go in detail, of course, later on. We will also have our partners giving their perspectives on the relevance of the MOOC for practitioners, as this, of course, is a very important element here to indicate the use and why this MOOC makes sense to be introduced. We will have, as mentioned, also a Q&A, which will provide opportunities for you if you have questions or have comments. We're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to ask them. And at the end, we will also tell you a little bit about, give you introduction to the final conference for this project that we will organize at the end of May, on May 30, in Brussels. But we will tell you that a little bit later on. So first up, say a little bit about the Coach Plus project. As you can see, it has its intention, as from the title you can already notice, that the intention was to develop a youth work-oriented Sport Plus coaching online training course for, in first instance, for sport for employability organizations that work with young needs. It's a project that started in June 2022 and will be soon be finalized at the end of next month, so the end of May. Here's also an overview of our partners. So it's a collaborative partnership. So we from the VUB, the Sport and Society Research Group, have been the coordinator, but we have closely worked together with 4 other partners. One is the Netwerk Lokaal Sportbeleid, which is Network Local Sport Policy, a Flemish organization. There will be a brief introduction later on by each of the partners to indicate a little bit about their work. NAPOR, a partner from Serbia, on youth work, you might say an umbrella organization, a youth work youth workers in Serbia. There's Ryan Flanke from Germany, and there's Sport for Life from the UK. But as mentioned, we will give each of the partners a short time to express, to indicate, to situate their work, as well as to talk a little bit about the MOOC themselves. So this is basically the project, and the rationale for the project was basically that the EU has put a lot of effort into looking at the high unemployment rate among young people in different member states, in some member states more than in others. But it has made one of its policy measures to try to increase the level of employability of these young people. The NEETs, an acronym used for people not in education, employment, or in training. Another is that they recognize, the EU recognizes also the potential to use sport to increase youth employability, as well as we have seen a growing number of organizations making use of sport to increase employability levels of young people. There has also been a recommendation by the EU for the development of specific and dedicated courses for sport coaches, and to use insights from youth work, specifically when targeting developmental objectives, including employability skills for young needs through the use of sport. So this is basically the background and the rationale why we have set up this this project, which as the main deliverable has been
We can't hear. Okay.
Okay. I was muted for a while. Was I for a long time?
10 seconds.
Ivano's enjoying that.
Strange. I was unmuted here, and then all of a sudden I was muted. Okay, I hope you can still follow, because I have been going through the slides. I hope you can see it. So I was explaining a little bit about the Coach Plus MOOC, the MOOC, which is a massive open online course, and also a course including different modules. You will also see we will include the website, the URL where you can find the MOOC, but we will show that at the end in the chat as well. Now, the MOOC itself will start with a general introduction. We are not, and let me put that a little bit in perspective here, we are not going to go into detail about the MOOC itself. The MOOC, of course, stands on itself and provides a lot of information. We will only give you some information about the MOOC that people that are interested in going through it afterwards, they know what they can expect. This is basically the first part is a general introduction, where we basically have a number of you might say logic questions, like what is the purpose of this course, this MOOC? Who is it for? Is it and is it relevant for users? Is it relevant for you? We will start like we do with all parts of the MOOC. We will start with an introduction, a short video introduction, making it more accessible for everybody. And this is, by the way, one of our other colleagues who can join us today, Hebe Schaye, giving actually some insight into the use. Now, the purpose of the MOOC is basically to help practitioners understand how sport can be used effectively to develop employability skills, what the relevance is of using a youth work approach, as well as how to use and to implement a successful mentoring program. It will also deal with issues of monitoring and evaluation, which we will come to that a little bit later on. Now, who is the MOOC for? That's also an important question, of course. Our primary target group is sport coaches who work or intend to work with the young needs in sport for employability organizations. It should be noted, and that is an important element to note, that most employability skills are general in nature and can therefore also be regarded as soft skills. So the course can also be inspirational for coaches working in a broader area of sport for development, and especially those working with specific groups of young people in vulnerable situations. The MOOC is therefore also relevant for other groups besides the sport coaches. Those people that work with young needs and interested in using sport for developmental purposes, for example, like youth workers or social workers. So we indicate this because it's important. As you will notice throughout the MOOC and the introduction to the MOOC, some parts might be more appropriate for specific users than others, of course, depending on their own situation. This is what the MOOC looks like if you would go to that URL, to the website, where you will see 6 modules. And now you see a screenshot. We're not going actually online here. Actually, it might be a little bit technical difficulties going online now. But as you can see, this is a screenshot from my page here. I completed everything like all our partners did, of course. But you can see the 6 modules here. Introduction, the module 2 youth work, module 3 on employability, module 4 on Sport Plus, module 5 on mentoring, and module 6 on monitoring and evaluation. And if you go through these modules, you will see the progress, of course, and see how much you completed, yes or no. Now, the basic idea is, of course, to use this MOOC in a variety of ways. We have therefore also provided a lot of cross references in the MOOC, that if you come up to a specific concept or topic, you can click on the link and then you get to another place where you have more information on that. It's a good thing to note that the window will open, but not necessarily you will lose the actual place where you are. So it's an additional window that will be open. There are visuals that we have integrated, graphics, video clips, interactive PDFs. There's links, a lot of links as well, referring to the original sources that we use. We refer to a lot of other materials, recommended readings, as well as additional information. We try to bring everything as much as possible together into one platform, that the users have enough time, enough opportunity, I must say, to go as far as they want to go. There's also exercises that we include throughout the text to help users reflect on specifics, specifically relating with their own situation. And at the end of each module, we also included self-assessment questions. It's like some kind of summary that we have put forward, also with specifics where people can then reflect again and see to what extent they grasp the ideas that we have set forward. And there is also, at most of these modules, we have provided online forum for this, which enables interaction with other users. Mind you that there is not really a permanent back office of this MOOC once it is started. But we see the opportunity for users to share their interest and share their insights with other users. These online forums, by the way, they are also directed. We use some statements, we use some questions that people can then respond to, and we open the discussion for others to jump in if they like. There will also be translated content. This is a European project. We work together with different language communities, as you can say. We will provide a translation of the content in Dutch, in French, in German, as well as in Serbian. And these translations will be made available in the coming weeks. But for now, we already have the the start of the MOOC in the English version. This is just a screenshot again, showing that when you click on one of the modules, like this is module 1, it opens and then you get like a list, a menu, you can say, of the different elements which are in the MOOC for that module. If you then click on one, you get again more further information. Like I said, each module will start actually with a video introduction to what can be expected, again presented by one of our team members to give you an insight into what can be expected in this module. If you then click on one of the of these parts, then you get more information. And if you might notice, if you can see here in the blue, it might be hard to read, but this is, for example, a link. If you click on that link, then you will get more information, or you will be referred to other parts of the MOOC for already some more background information. But again, as I mentioned just now, the MOOC, it will open a new window, meaning you can just go to that site, but you can still continue to go to the original window, which will be open as well. This is how it looks like. And so how to use the MOOC, we also want to give you some insight into that. We know that this contains a lot of information. Part of the MOOC, the preparation for this MOOC was also to ask through the different partners and to ask some practitioners to have a go and to test the MOOC already. And they all shared some common comments which we took on board. But it also showed that there's a lot of information, and you will notice just in a minute when we go through all the modules, there's a lot of information. It might be for some people very challenging to do that all by themselves. It is something which you can, of course, and you are welcome to do so, but there might be options, and some have suggested also, that's why we mentioned that. It might also be interesting to use it in a group work, you might say in a group workshop context, for example, by using each module separately within this format with a group of learners being guided through different parts. This is a way, of course, it is not a necessity, but it is a recommendation we got from testing it and from practitioners mentioning that to us as well. It will also help as we mentioned about the exercise and self-assessment questions. It will help. It can provide various opportunities for interaction at that point. Because it can be used then at that point for initial staff training or ongoing staff development by filling in these exercises, sharing exercises and the answers and the answers of the self-assessment questions. It opens then a discussion. I think this MOOC is an introduction for a further reflection is how we see it. So we thought it was interesting to mention that to you as well, how to use it. But of course, you're free to do it any way you pleases. Now, an overview of this of the different modules. A very brief overview, of course. The first one is the introduction of the Coach Plus MOOC, where we will have an explanation of the key concepts used in the other modules. The key concepts are basically the ones that are you might say, in our title of our project, which is employability. It's about the Sport Plus. It's about Sport for Employability. It's about youth work. These are key concepts which we try to make clear throughout this module and later modules to make sure that everybody understands what we are talking about. We will use also, we will describe an indicative program theory that we have developed in prior work that we did within our group and with some of the partners that were already there in a previous project. A theory of change, as you can say, on sport for employability, and which has served as a basic framework for the MOOC. And this will be explained in greater detail in the first module to get an idea of a systematic approach of using sport within this context. Of course, the first module will specifically focus on an overview of the other modules, what can be expected, what are the learning outcomes, what are the topics that are being discussed there. Module 2 is on youth work and youth development. I give the floor to Fred to go through it.
Okay, thank you very much. This module is seen as both educational and promoting self-reflection. One of the things is that many sport for development programs already contain some elements of youth work in them. So what this is an attempt to make people think about youth work, think about the components of the program, and think about it more systematically. So this is giving them a more systematic introduction to what youth work is, so they can reflect back on their own practice. And throughout this, I'm going to just give you the headings. Throughout this, at the end of each sub module in the module, they're asked to compare the youth work practice with what they do as sport coaches. So it's an attempt to get a systematic self-reflection going on. The first part of it is the diversity of youth work. There is a lack of consensus about what youth work really is, and there's a lot of people who work with young people. And there's a range of activities. So this introduces you to that perspective on working with young people. But then what we do is we move on to common values and principles of youth work, principles and practice, the shared characteristics of youth work. For example, they reject the deficit view of young people. The programs have to be voluntary participation. They have participant-centered needs in their program. So we then move on from that brief introduction to the common values to universal open access youth work. This is a large table, and what we do is we work through the 12 factors and perspectives which underpin open access youth work and ask people to compare that with what they currently do. So again, it's not just telling them what youth work is, it's asking them to consider how close they are to it, and if they're not, what they would have to do to get there. Sorry. And what we then do is we compare youth work practice and sports coaching. Youth work practice tends to be participant-centered, whereas sports for development tends to be skill development approaches. They tend to have a different view of what the participant is there for. And then we look at the 6 core youth work competences, and we ask the coaches to work through these themselves, reflect back on what they do, and if they wanted to adopt a youth work approach, what training and what skill development they would have to do to do youth work, use youth work perspectives more systematically. And we then outline a piece of research which shows what you have to do. If you're a Sport for Change organization that want to introduce youth work into your organization, this is a guide to what you have to do to adopt a youth work approach. It's not just about programs, it's about organizational structures as well. And then finally, we set out a series of criteria to assess the success of a youth work program. Okay, so that's what it is. And I want to emphasize this. Throughout this, we're asking the people who do it to think what they currently do as sport coaches and compare that with a youth work approach. Okay, so that's module 2.
Moving on to module 3 is employability. As you know, one of the key concepts we use within the MOOC, of course. Employability is, of course, first of all introduced and defined, which is an important element. You might say in a very short way, saying that it is the ability or the individual characteristics and skills needed to look for the job, to find a job, and to maintain in employment. But basically, this of course deals with a lot of specific skills. We also, within this module, will look at employers' definition of employability. There's a wide variety of skills that are regarded as important when young people enter the labor market. We are dealing here, of course, with so-called soft skills. The hard skills are more the job specific and technical skills. They're very job specific. But we're talking here, of course, about the soft skills, and we then try to come up with some insights to understand better. We focus within the MOOC on a number of these employability skills. We have made a specific selection, ones you might say the most common ones, which we have used throughout the MOOC for further discussion. These are one is perceived self-efficacy. As you can see, it's belief in one's own ability to plan and perform a specific task in a specific context. The other is self-esteem, the positive and negative orientation toward oneself. We also focus on teamwork. We focus on communication, and we also focus on decision making. And what we do with this within this module is going into detail in what theory tells us, and also practice what tells us how these skills can be developed. And also we then make some kind of extrapolation to what are recommended coaching strategies in general that can be used to develop these specific skills. The module 4 then deals with the issue of Sport Plus. It starts basically with looking at sport. You might say this might be a very strange start because we all have our ideas of sport, but that's just the thing. There are so many different sides of sport that we want to make that clear, what our position is here, and we definitely use the more common, broader definitions set out by international agencies like the United Nations, as well as the European Union, where there is a broad view perspective on sport. So it goes far beyond the competitive activity, of course. And of course, we also focus within this module on the use of sport for developmental purposes. We then turn to saying that, and we want to emphasize the importance of having an adapted approach to sport delivery if you want to use sport for developmental purposes, and focusing on the topic, the term of Sport Plus. Now, this gentleman sitting next to me, Fred Coulter, has been the one that has started this whole terminology on Sport Plus. And we have used this throughout the MOOC basically as a concept where sport is being used from a experiential learning perspective, that it provides opportunity to experience and also get reinforced by workshop content, or that sport can reinforce workshop content dealing with specific skills, and we try to make it as accessible for a wider audience. What then exactly is meant by this term of this concept of Sport Plus? We then turn to more specific on how to design and deliver Sport Plus activities. Again, there is a need for an adapted approach. There's often a saying that sport will in itself already provide a lot of additional outcomes, but we must recognize, and we recognize that this is not the case. That is hardly the case. We need an adapted approach, and we try to bring the learners up to date on the latest developments in this, and how they can be prepared to design and deliver this type of activities. Of course, also in relation to the employability skills, how they can be developed through the use of Sport Plus approaches. There will be some specific examples being shown where we then use, again, starting from how the employability skills are developed and what are some preferable coaching strategies to be used within a sporting context, how they can be of service. Of course, knowing that this is for a wider audience, we have not gone to very specific cases. We know that there's a lot of organizations that use specific sports, such as football, basketball, and other team sports, but all others have used other activities, dance and martial arts. We have not gone into that depth to go to specific sports. We provide the learners and the users of this MOOC with general principles that they can then use themselves within their own context as it seems fit for them. We will talk about the main characteristics of Sport Plus coaching. Fred just mentioned about the difference between sport coaching and youth work mentoring, you might say. We then focus on what is the characteristic of using Sport Plus coaching here. And we, as an important part of the experiential learning, is of course the whole idea of learning by experience and reflective and reflection, self-reflection, reflective practice afterwards. We also focus on this. We help users to get some information and going beyond just very general questions as did you like it, yes or no, what were your feelings. We go into a more systematic approach that we have learned from the literature, from theory, how you can do that and help again the learners in going in that direction. Then we come to module 5.
Okay, thank you. What we argue is that mentoring is a major component of the plus in Sport Plus. And therefore it's vitally central. So what this does, this defines mentoring. It compares mentoring with coaching. Mentoring is much more to do with personal issues and developing trust and respect. And coaching is much more concerned with a more directive, performance-oriented approach to people. And then what we do is we outline the stages of mentoring. And this 6 stages of mentoring provides the framework for the module. Throughout the stages of mentoring, the nature of the social relationships and the role of the mentor changes, and we explain that in some detail. What we do is we use that framework, the 6 stages of mentoring, to identify the skills required for effective mentoring. Now, some of them coaches may already have. We're not saying that coaches don't have any of these skills, but again, what we're trying to do is get the people to look at these in a much more systematic way, rather than just take them for granted. And then what we do is we outline the components of effective mentoring programs, what components should be in an effective mentoring program. So that's that module.
And then the 6th and last module is about monitoring and evaluation. which we think is also an important one. If you talk about sport as being a means of trying to reach certain outcomes and impact, monitoring and evaluation becomes an important element, which we think also relates to the work that coaches need to do within the site. We look at some key concepts of monitoring evaluation. We talk about what monitoring is, what evaluation is. We also look at what outcomes are, what impact, what we could say about impact. We then also mention the relevance of monitoring and evaluation, both from, you might say, an outsider's perspective, dealing with funders, therefore accountability, but also from an insider's perspective, how organizations can benefit from looking at their own performance and monitor their own performance and learning from that and if necessary make some changes within during the process. We see the types of monitoring evaluation, basically formative versus summative evaluation. We go into detail in that regard. We also talk about an integrated approach of monitoring evaluation, where we have you have on the one side, of course, specifics relating to the actual process and activities, but also on the other side you have the outcomes and the impact and how this can be related. That brings us back to the whole idea of using a systematic approach with monitoring and evaluation and coming up with for example, theory of change. We focus on this and we also look at approaches to collect data, which of course, if you want to monitor, and by the way, as we mentioned in the MOOC, mentoring is actually also a type of monitoring, which is necessary, of course, if you want to interact and you want to respond and you want to have this conversation going with participants, then you are monitoring, and at the same time you provide feedback. So collecting data, how to do that. We also provide some easy and accessible means of doing that. We know practitioners often have difficulty in doing this. We provide opportunities for this to help them in that way. So this is a short, again, not in detail, a brief overview of the 6 modules. We would now like to give the floor to some of all our partners, basically, but we go one by one for the relevance of the MOOC, how they have learned from their experience, also with testing it with practitioners. So I kindly would like to give the floor to Julian from Rijnflanke. Julian, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Fred. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, maybe just a few words about the organization itself and what we're doing. So it originally emerged like 15 years ago from the idea and the belief that yeah, sport, in this case football, like a low threshold football league could bring young people, could bring youth together, and yeah, you could use it as a tool to get in contact with young people and yeah, then just help them through that, like build up relationships, help them with their everyday issues. And yeah, so right now we're working in open and mobile youth work. We have like youth center, like similar to youth centers in several cities and municipalities in North Rhine-Westphalia. We do have like job coaching offers for people, for mostly refugees. We also work with schools, different areas in schools or in external learning spaces where we offer like social trainings, anti-aggression workshops, and yeah, but it's always young people, and we always have the sport focus, movement focus, and yeah, so just a few personal, or not just personal, well, thoughts from our practitioners. What we got some feedback from them about the MOOC. So in general, we can say that it's a really in-depth but concise content on the most relevant aspects of an effective Sport for Employability program, prepared in a scientific way. So it's, I think, really great interconnection to to the practitioners, to sports coaches, and just a helpful guide on how to systematically design or approach the design and implementation of those aspects into a program. And I think what is great that you can actually, like, you have the possibility to jump modules and work on specific themes on a very individual basis, and therefore can like customize it individually depending on the prioritization of certain areas regarding the framework of your own organization. So it's not like one size fits all approach, but you can really take what you need and just design your own sports for employability program. And last but not least, it's, I think, a great template just to check your organization status, where you are in terms of those kind of programs. And yeah, I think the last point I mentioned already. And then a few quick thoughts on the single modules. So as all organizations vary a lot in their organizational structure, philosophy, resources, etc. They're like going with the youth work approach, like it comes with much more flexibility, and it's not very, or it's rather a non-linear developmental approach, not always by curriculum. It's probably also more time consuming as just like normal sport sessions. But I think it's important to, or it helps if you try to genuinely dive into those youth work approaches and try to understand them, see if it actually fits your organization, which parts, which elements you could implement, and not just try to put the template somehow on top of your programs, but yeah, just try to really dive into those. And yeah, employability, I think it's interesting to just see maybe how also subconsciously, like which kind of employability skills you're already implementing in your programs and sports sessions. Sometimes you're not really aware of it, and you might just like have to change a few things, put a little focus on youth work approaches here and there, and then you're already implementing many skills. Module 4, Sport Plus. Yeah, I think it's just really helpful guide to realize the potential of your sports sessions, and also the learning by experience approach. When you design it and facilitate it accordingly, obviously not just throw a ball in and see what happens, but if you maybe also have some workshops accompanying the programs. So yeah, it's a helpful module in terms of getting to know that Sport Plus approach a bit better. And yeah, mentoring from our experience is we're very like underestimated variable in the equation of success of your programs. Yeah, building relationships to the young people is super important factor when it comes to like whether how much you can actually pass on to them. So yeah, it's great to get some insight into that. And the last module, which is sometimes a bit neglected and not the most sexy one to say, but I think it's a great concise introduction into that, into those topics. Good to digest, and yeah, just helps to improve the general program delivery and yeah, organizational effectiveness in those terms. So yeah, so far from our side.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. It's okay that we pass on to the next partner, Sport for Life. Zach, you want to take over now?
Yes, that's fine. So hi everyone, I'm Zach from Sport for Life UK. So just to go through a bit more sort of information on what we do at Sport for Life. So we started off in 2006 as sort of a sport for sport's sake. Yes, that's fine. So hi everyone, I'm Zach from Sport for Life UK. So just to go through a bit more sort of information on what we do at Sport for Life. So we started off in 2006 as sort of a sport for sport's sake organization. So just in the interest of doing sport, but no sort of real end goal. And then we expanded around 2010 to do more around sport for employability, sport for development. So we have sort of a clear sort of goal. We expanded our teams to have sort of a long-term strategic impact. And now we sort of have different teams. So instead of just having original sport team, now we have sport, we do qualifications, we've got mentoring, so which we all sort of work in unison, but we've got sort of different programs that work together. In terms of our NEAT specific programs, we have a few different sessions. We started off, I think, especially when thanks to when Fred and Mark came, we did the martial arts boxing session with them. And through some of their research, some of the points we've expanded to do sort of different, more group work sessions. Now we've got sort of a group football session that was something that we didn't think we'd be able to do with NEATs, and we've sort of managed to do that and take that to the ground. So yeah, we've done a lot of different things around NEAT and sport. So yeah, just going to talk through my points. That's good. So yeah, so the MOOC is sort of a great framework for having in-depth understanding of the sport from employability sector. So if you want to just learn more about what sport is, I think for a lot of our coaches, so we big part of Sport for Life's program is that we have NEATs who we employ as coaches, and then they can coach at the session. So having the MOOC is something that they can go through, they can sort of learn a bit more about what the sport from employability sector, well, a bit more very in depth as Fred and Mark have already explained. But yeah, that's sort of a good insight into the framework. The system provides you with enough information to complete the modules at your own pace. So you can sort of jump in and out of modules as you want, because on the coach's journey, as some of you might be aware, the coach is able to just focus on, like, let's say module 2, but then if there was more relevant for them to jump to module 5, or even to go through the M&E, so that monitoring and impact and evaluation side. So yeah, and when it comes to the MOOC, it emphasizes the use of sports to develop employability skills, which is relevant for us because we can help our young people to gain skills and qualification for future employment, and it sort of all ties in together what our program is. So that whole jumping in and jumping out and then having that sort of employability skills links quite well with what we do at Sport for Life. And then, yeah, overall, as an organization, we can use the MOOC to develop our existing coaches, who a lot of them are from this neat background, and we can, especially as Mark mentioned around the group element of it, having this tool to develop it with coaches, get them to bounce ideas off each other, is quite a relevant thing to the work that we do. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. That was great.
Can we just move on to our friends from Serbia, Ivana? Or yeah, I think Ivana will take the floor now.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivana, and I work as a program coordinator at NAPOR. So NAPOR in Serbian stands for National Association of Youth Workers, which means that we are an association of 47 organizations and 26 individuals up to now, and who conduct youth work programs across Serbia. So we don't work directly with young people. We work with youth workers. We work on quality assurance, recognition of youth work, and education of youth workers. So our mission is to support youth workers and young people to reach their full personal and professional potential. And you might wonder what sports have to do with us. Like every area involving youth, sports are also our focus. On one hand, physical activity is important for youth development, so it's crucial to include it in youth work programs. And in another hand, we believe that sports should be accessible to everyone, and through sports, young people can develop various skills to reach their full personal and professional potential. So we work on both fronts. At this moment, we have a program for youth workers on how to gain skills and apply the methodology of sport for development in their work. But on the other hand, we want to bring youth work closer to sport coaches and teachers in school who teach sports. And that's why we have developed a curriculum for youth work for sport coaches. But usually these programs are very, very expensive and they cost a lot. So it's not something that we can offer very usual. And that's why one of the reasons why we got involved in this project to use available tools to bring the principles of youth work closer to sport coaches and the sport workers. So the relevance, which is the question, the relevance of Kultuch plus MOOC from our perspective, I put in 4 key points in this presentation. But of course, there is, as you could hear, there is many more. So it provides essential high-quality educational content that meets the needs of those working at the intersection of youth work and sports, as well as in their separate fields. This ensures a broad range of practitioners who can benefit from it. The second thing is it's available and self-paced, allowing unlimited access at any time, making learning flexible. Participants can explore the modules on their own schedule, and they can choose which module and section they want to explore. It helps, the third thing is that it helps learners to understand the basic principles and values of Sport Plus and youth work, which is a great standing point for further research and gaining practical experience. And the fourth is that it offers a chance for self-reflection and self-assessment, which is something that we definitely use in any youth work. So they can relate to the topics in the module. It encourages learners to critically evaluate their own practices and identify areas of improvement based on the concepts in the MOOC. So that's it.
Thank you, Ivana.
You can, of course, ask questions later.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to turn the floor to the last of our partners, not the least one, I must say. Netwerk Lokaal. Oops, something went wrong here. Just hold on. I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes, hold on. I just go to the right slide now. I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry for this, Matthias.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Matthias. I work for Network Lokaal Sportbeleid. In English, it's Network Local Sport Policy, and we are an organization who work as NAPOR, not with sport coaches themselves, but we work for the local sport policies, and we are involved and try to support them with their questions and give workshops about some things that are at the main time very important for them. So we are a knowledge center and a membership organization. So, and the Coach Plus MUC is for us the missing link between the world of youth work and sport and training. That link is there not now, and this MOOC try to connect these two worlds. It's a tool for sport coaches who don't have experience with needs. And it's to create a broader sport coach that a sports coach really can get some image of what is youth work, what is needs, and how to use all these aspects in sport and training. Then what's also very good about this MOOC is that you can complete it at your own pace. You can do it individually or you can do it in group. So with a lot of sport coaches, or you can do it at your own pace at home, and yeah, then at least we have just one goal with this MOOC, and that's to learn learn soft skills to needs in an experiential way, and to get them stronger on the labor markets. So that's what it.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you. And sorry for the short
No problem.
Something went wrong here, but that's fixed. Okay.
Should tell them what Matthias is doing for us.
It's also important to note that Matthias is the one that has done a lot of work already for putting it on the platform. You know, so we're very grateful.
Showing great patience. So thank you, Matthias.
Thinking a little bit about the conference that we will organize on May 30 at the campus of the university in Brussels. As you can see, all the information will be made available also on the website that we will share with you and already been sharing in the chat. The conference, we already mentioned this. It will be an introduction to the Coach Plus project, but we will basically also focus, and we will focus on the MOOC, but we will go beyond this. So we will definitely look at potential and the challenges of using Sport Plus coaching for soft and employability skill development for young needs. So it will be a broader topic that we try to address, where the MOOC is, of course, a part of. We will use it as a way to bring people together, specifically also from different backgrounds. So definitely from related backgrounds, from sport, from social work, from youth work, from education, from policy. We will use plenary and interactive sessions. We will provide online participation, but only for the plenary sessions. So people who cannot physically attend, they can join in, but only for the plenary sessions. The interactive ones will be too complicated. Participation is free, but unlike this webinar, we ask registration, because of course we provide. There will be catering, there will be lunch provided. So we need to know registration. You can register if you go online. If you are only able to join online, you still need to to register, but you will then have the choice saying this is only for online registration. As you can see, the deadline is still away from now, but on May 23rd we tried to finalize the deadline. We tried to finalize the registration. There's the website again, where you can again find all the information and the registration form on this. And finally, again, this conference is meant for different representatives, both from sport for employability and sport for development organizations, as well as youth work, people from education, employment sector, research, and policy. We also foresee a panel discussion with some people from different backgrounds to talk about these issues, which we think would be a good way to finalize the conference and to finalize also this project. If there are no, I'm just checking the chat. I don't see any hands raised anymore. So I think we can finalize it. This webinar for now from the coordinating team and the partners. I would like to thank you for participating, for also your interest in joining, and for your comments and questions. And of course, we hope to see you in one way or another on May 30th in Brussels or online. And by all means, if you have some comments you want to share with us, feel free to go to the website as mentioned here on the slide to leave your comments. They are more than welcome. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks all. Bye.